Senator Thompson, thanks for talking to me on the weekend.
Yeah, good morning. Always enjoy chatting with you.
Same here. Now, let's talk a little business. I'm hearing some chatter out there. There's a lot of interesting bills at the legislature. One that I'm particularly interested in because in the topic of ultra processed foods, which is starting to gain some attention, starting with HHS, some of the things the new cabinet member has talked about, some of which are goofy, some of which are, we need to take a look at that. So ultra processed foods, Senate Bill 4. Let's start with your bill. And I'm sure that with all these topics, there's what it does. And then here's what you're seeing from the Facebook people, which is usually misinformation is the nice way to put it. So let's start with Senate Bill 4. It's coming up early next week. What does it do?
Yeah, so Senate Bill 4 is being heard in our Agriculture and Wildlife Committee on Monday, March 4th at 10 a.m. Right now, we have a list of 21 dyes and other chemicals, food additives, that will be prohibited in food starting January of 2027. The exact date's January 15th of 2027, and then in ingestible drugs on January 18th of 2028. So those dates are in alignment with what the FDA put out on their red dye 3 ban that they dropped back in December. And so this bill is an attempt for food safety, to let people know what's in their food. There's a reporting requirement in there, labeling, to make sure that Oklahomans and specifically know what's in their food. I think that we have the right to know what we're putting in our bodies. And so the labeling piece is important, but the bigger conversation here is what's going on nationally and what are we putting into our bodies. We're seeing our cancer rates increase. We're seeing our health outcomes continue to decline, even though we spend trillions of dollars on healthcare, it seems. I need to get the exact dollar that we actually do spend on healthcare, but it is a massive portion of spending in America and in Oklahoma. And so when we're talking about health outcomes, I think it is a very easy conversation to have. Hey, what are we putting into our bodies, and is this affecting our health outcomes?
All right, I think this is a fair comment I'm going to make, and I want you to comment to see if I'm fair or not.
Okay.
I think the preponderance of evidence now indicates that ultra processed foods are bad. They lead to a lot of health outcomes that are not good. Now we have GLP-1s that are coming in. The big food lobbies concerned about this because a lot of the ultra processed foods that GLP-1 folks are using, they don't taste good anymore. They've got a lot of bad stuff in them. All fair. Is that a fair group of comments?
Yeah. Listen, I think when we are talking about health outcomes, right, we need to start looking at what happened back in the 70s and 80s. Okay. Initially, the FDA, they had a process for food additives, food chemicals that they would review. And then by the 90s, things were so backed up that they actually changed an administrative rule to allow companies to self-regulate their products, their chemicals, as generally regarded as safe, GRAs for short. And so I think this is all part of that conversation. A lot of people don't know that our chemicals in our food have not been reviewed by independent scientists. A lot of these chemicals are reviewed by scientific research that's actually funded by the big food manufacturers. Therefore, it's not an independent study. When we're talking about scientific research, the ability to replicate studies, having things that are peer reviewed, it's very important in science. And right now, the way it stands is that the food companies have full authority to say that these things are safe. And so now people are questioning what's in our food. What are we actually putting into our bodies? Why are we eating things that are banned for topical use, like some of these red dyes, for 35 years? We're still able to ingest them. There's things that are in yoga mats that we're able to eat. It's a fair question to ask, is this safe? And I think that's what you're seeing nationwide. And so, listen, this is going to be a battle here in Oklahoma, but I believe in this. And I think it's really important for Oklahomans and Americans to know what we're putting in our body. It's a fair question to ask.
All right. Who is big food? I'm going to assume there's a lot of sugar in big food, but the big food lobby, which works on this across the country, and they're welcome to come on. I mean, I'd be happy to talk to big food, as it were, but who are they?
Yeah, so you've got your global companies, right? We're talking, Nabisco, Kellogg's, General Mills, and they're all of the big manufacturers that we're seeing. They're listen, and in fairness, there are some concerns from our local Oklahoma companies. I've actually been in contact with quite a few of them. My goal is to never, ever hurt our Oklahoma companies. And that's why we have such a long lead time. I'm also happy to help connect the dots for our companies to make sure that they have resources. They're going to have to start changing their formulas. I want to make sure that I personally am able to assist them however I can. When we're talking about specifically sodium nitrate, that's in this, nitrates in this bill. And there are some options, dried cherry powder, dried celery powder. And so how do we connect our food manufacturers with better products? I think that's another piece of this bill, right? We've also got the component of partnering with our local Oklahoma producers. We want to support economic growth and economic development in the state. And if we're going to start getting cleaner, healthier foods into our food supply here in Oklahoma, I think partnering with our agricultural partners across the state, our producers, it's a great way to do that.
Nitrates are amongst the first things that happen for people that are heart patients, stroke patients. Like nitrates, you can't have those. That's something that would make sense in labeling. Let's talk about misinformation. Let's start with this one. Are you going to outlaw blue and gold sausage?
I am not outlawing any food. That is the biggest lie that is being circulated right now. What we are doing is saying that these food additives that have correlation to things like cancer, ADHD, some endocrine disruptors, and this is all scientific research that's readily available out on the market. What we are saying is that you cannot put these in our food anymore. We are not telling anyone that they cannot sell their product. We are not banning food. We are prohibiting fillers. And that's a very big distinction. A lot of times in that building, folks like to fearmonger, and I don't take very kindly to that. I think that's a great disservice to the people of Oklahoma, and it's quite insulting. I know folks can do their research. This is out there. So we're not banning food. We're banning fillers.
My understanding, and grade me on this one, is that ultra processed, which there are a lot of studies now that this is bad for people, but ultra processed ingredients, if you can't pronounce them, they're the sorts of things that are in ultra processed. Fair comment or not?
Yeah, I would say for the most part, that's fair. There are some things out there that may be truly natural that maybe we have a problem saying, but we kind of have a rule in our house that if you struggle to pronounce it, maybe don't put it in your body, and always go to the refrigerator before you hit the pantry.
Senator Kristen Thompson has Senate Bill 4, correct? And
yes,
that
sir.
will be on the agenda on Monday.
That's right. Monday, 10 a.m., Agriculture and Wildlife. Reach out to the committee if you believe in this issue. I think a lot of us do. And then, of course, hey, the Capitol is the people's house. So come and see us. We'll be there.
Quick question. Do you know if this committee hearing will be televised or recorded?
Yes, they are all televised. We are under public meetings. And so we're going to be live and in action. It'll be there. You can tune into the Senate's website. And then there's also recordings. Yes.
Senator Thompson, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it.